A rivalry with a brother that went too far. Almost lost his brother because of business. Growing up, my brother Jason and I were inseparable. As kids, we spent countless hours together, building forts in the backyard, plotting grand adventures, and sharing our dreams for the future. One dream in particular stood out above all others, the dream of opening a small, cozy coffee shop in our sleepy little town. It would be a place where locals could gather, sip warm beverages, and escape the world for a while. We talked endlessly about the cafe, drawing up imaginary menus, brainstorming names, and even designing the interior in our heads. It was our shared fantasy, a symbol of the bond we thought would never break. But as we grew older, things began to change. What had once been a close, supportive relationship began to morph into something more competitive, even antagonistic. We both had strong personalities, and our leadership qualities started to clash. In high school, we vied for the top spot in everything: academics, sports, popularity. It was a constant battle to see who was the best, who could outdo the other. And while it started as friendly rivalry, by the time we reached university, it had escalated into something much more intense. Throughout university, we were always trying to one-up each other, whether it was in academics, extracurriculars, or even in social circles. It was exhausting, but neither of us was willing to back down. Our childhood dream of the coffee shop faded into the background, lost amidst the noise of our ongoing competition. After graduation, I returned to our hometown, eager to reconnect with my roots and perhaps rekindle that old dream of ours. I had learned a lot during my time at university, both about business and about myself. I realized that the rivalry with Jason had consumed me, and I wanted to find a way to move past it, to build something meaningful. So, when I stumbled upon the perfect little spot for a coffee shop in the heart of town, it felt like fate. The space was everything we had dreamed of as kids: quaint, charming, and filled with potential. It was like the universe was giving me a chance to finally bring our childhood vision to life. I jumped at the opportunity, quickly contacting the owner and arranging to sign the lease. But just as I was about to seal the deal, my brother swooped in and snatched it out from under me. He bought the property right out from under my nose and began construction on the very coffee shop we had dreamed of. Only he was doing it in his name without me. I was stunned. It felt like the ultimate betrayal, a knife to the heart of our already fractured relationship. All those years of competition, of pushing and pulling, had led to this, a ruthless, calculated move by my own brother to claim our dream as his own. I stood there, watching in disbelief as Jason's workers began the renovation. The sign that would eventually hang above the door read, "Jason's Coffee Haven," and it was like a slap in the face. Our dream had been hijacked, and I was left out in the cold. That was when I decided that I would get my revenge. For weeks, I seethed with anger, trying to figure out how to respond to my brother's betrayal. I wasn't the type to take things lying down, but I also didn't want to stoop to Jason's level. I needed to be smart, to come up with a plan that would not only make him regret what he had done, but would also allow me to reclaim what was rightfully mine. As I mulled over my options, I began to notice a few things about Jason's coffee shop. First, while he had the money to buy the property and begin construction, he lacked the personal touch that had always been at the core of our shared vision. Jason was a businessman at heart, driven by profit margins and efficiency. He wasn't interested in creating a warm, inviting space for the community. He just wanted to build a brand, to be the king of the local coffee scene. That was where I saw my opportunity. If Jason was going to focus on turning a profit, I would focus on the heart and soul of the coffee shop experience, the community, the atmosphere, the personal connection with customers. I would create something so genuine, so rooted in the spirit of our original dream, that it would overshadow Jason's sterile corporate venture. But I couldn't do it alone. I needed a team, and I needed a location that could rival Jason's prime spot. That's when I remembered an old friend from university, Emma, who had always dreamed of opening a cafe of her own. Emma was a brilliant pastry chef, and we had often talked about collaborating on a project someday. I reached out to her, explained the situation, and she was immediately on board. With Emma by my side, we began searching for a location. We found an old, run-down building just a few blocks away from Jason's shop. It was in desperate need of renovation, but it had character, history, and most importantly, potential. We pooled our resources, took out loans, and bought the building. The next few months were a whirlwind of activity. While Jason's coffee shop was completed with clinical efficiency, Emma and I threw ourselves into our project with passion and creativity. We did much of the work ourselves, painting the walls, refinishing the floors, and repurposing old furniture to give the space a unique, vintage feel. We wanted every corner of the shop to tell a story, to feel like home. We also made a point of reaching out to the community, getting to know our future customers, and involving them in the process. We held tasting events, asked for feedback on our menu, and even let local artists contribute to the decor. It wasn't just about creating a business. It was about creating a place where people felt connected, where they felt like they belonged. Finally, the day arrived when we were ready to open the doors. We named our shop Cozy Corner Cafe, a nod to the warmth and intimacy we wanted to create. The grand opening was a huge success, with people lining up outside to see what all the buzz was about. The word spread quickly, and soon Cozy Corner Cafe became the talk of the town. Jason, of course, was furious. He had expected his coffee shop to dominate the local market, but instead, he found himself struggling to compete with us. His sleek, modern cafe lacked the soul and character that Cozy Corner Cafe had in spades, and customers quickly gravitated toward our welcoming atmosphere and Emma's incredible pastries. But I wasn't satisfied with just beating Jason in the coffee business. I wanted to show him that there was more to life than competition, that the true value of our childhood dream was in the connections we made with others, not in who could outdo whom. As Cozy Corner Cafe continued to flourish, I decided it was time to take my revenge to the next level. I wasn't interested in simply outperforming Jason. I wanted to reclaim the dream that had been stolen from me, to remind him of what we had once shared and what he had lost in his quest to be the best. I reached out to Jason with an offer he couldn't refuse. I proposed that we hold a joint event, a coffee showdown, if you will, where both of our cafes would present their best offerings, and the community would decide which one they preferred. The event would be a friendly competition, just like the ones we had as kids, but with a much higher stake. The winner would get to name the other's cafe. Jason, always confident in his abilities, eagerly accepted the challenge. He saw it as a chance to finally prove once and for all that he was the superior entrepreneur. But what he didn't know was that I had something up my sleeve that would guarantee my victory. The day of the coffee showdown arrived, and the whole town turned out to see the battle between Cozy Corner Cafe and Jason's Coffee Haven. The atmosphere was electric, with people sampling drinks, enjoying Emma's pastries, and eagerly discussing which cafe they thought would come out on top. As the event went on, it became clear that Cozy Corner Cafe was winning the hearts of the community. Our focus on quality, creativity, and genuine connection had paid off, and people couldn't get enough of what we had to offer. Jason's cafe, by contrast, felt cold and impersonal, a stark reminder of the very thing I had been trying to avoid. But the true turning point came when I unveiled a surprise that no one, not even Jason, had seen coming. Just as the voting was about to close, I announced that Cozy Corner Cafe would be donating a portion of our profits to a local charity that supported families dealing with medical expenses. It was a cause close to my heart, and one that resonated deeply with the community. The crowd erupted in applause, and I could see the look of shock on Jason's face. He knew then and there that he had lost, not just the competition, but the respect of the community as well. When the final votes were tallied, Cozy Corner Cafe was declared the winner by a landslide. The crowd cheered, and I stepped forward to claim my prize. But instead of gloating or rubbing it in Jason's face, I did something unexpected. I handed him the sign for his cafe, the one that had been named in his honor, and told him to hang it above the door of Cozy Corner Cafe. From that day forward, our cafe would be known as Jason and Sam's Cozy Corner Cafe, a tribute to the childhood dream we had once shared. Jason was speechless, and I could see the realization dawning on him that he had lost sight of what really mattered. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about the journey we had taken together and the dream that had brought us closer as brothers. In the weeks that followed, Jason and I began to rebuild our relationship. It wasn't easy, and there were still moments of tension, but we both knew that the rivalry that had once driven us apart was no longer worth holding on to. Jason started spending more time at the cafe, getting to know the customers, and learning from Emma and me about what made Cozy Corner Cafe so special. He began to understand that the true success of a business wasn't just in the numbers, but in the connections you made with the people around you. Eventually, Jason and I sat down for a long, overdue conversation. We talked about our childhood, about the dreams we had shared, and about how we had let our rivalry get the best of us. We apologized to each other, not just for the coffee shop incident, but for all the times we had let our egos come between us. In the end, we agreed that the cafe was as much his as it was mine, and we made a pact to run it together, just as we had always done. It wasn't about who was in charge or who got the credit. It was about creating something beautiful together, something that would stand as a testament to our bond as brothers. And so, Jason and Sam's Cozy Corner Cafe became a beloved fixture in our town, a place where people could come to relax, to connect, and to enjoy the warmth and hospitality that we had always envisioned. It was more than just a business. It was the fulfillment of a dream that had once seemed lost, but was now more real and meaningful than ever. As we stood together in the cafe one evening, watching the sun set over our little town, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of contentment. We had come full circle, from childhood dreams to adult rivalries, and finally to a place of understanding and reconciliation. In the end, the best revenge wasn't about winning or getting back at my brother. It was about finding our way back to each other, about realizing that the dream we had once shared was never truly lost. It was just waiting for us to rediscover it together.